Hey there, I want to talk about something that sounds simple on the surface, but is often much more complicated when you're actually living through it. What happens when life finally starts getting better? Because I think a lot of us imagine that moment a certain way. We imagine feeling instantly happy, instantly grateful, instantly relieved. We imagine waking up one morning and realizing the difficult season is over. And from that point on, everything feels lighter. But sometimes that's not how it happens. Sometimes life starts getting better so gradually that you barely notice it at first. The things that used to consume your thoughts aren't showing up quite as often. The days don't feel quite as heavy. You laugh a little more. You worry a little less. You start making plans again. And yet, instead of feeling completely at ease, you find yourself looking over your shoulder, waiting, almost expecting something to go wrong. Because when you've spent a long time carrying stress, uncertainty, disappointment, or emotional exhaustion, your mind doesn't always trust peace immediately. It gets used to being alert, used to preparing for the next problem, used to scanning for signs that something difficult is about to happen. So when things finally become calmer, part of you doesn't know what to do with that. You keep waiting for the catch, waiting for the bad news, waiting for life to return to the version you've grown familiar with. And I think that's something many people experience but rarely talk about. Sometimes healing isn't just learning how to survive hard seasons. Sometimes it's learning how to live in better seasons without constantly expecting them to disappear. Because difficult periods change you. They teach you things. They make you stronger in some ways, but they can also leave you cautious. They can make joy feel unfamiliar. They can make stability feel temporary, and they can make you question whether you're allowed to relax, whether you're allowed to enjoy what is going well, whether you're allowed to believe that this chapter might actually be different. The truth is, when life begins improving, there is often an adjustment period, not because you're ungrateful, not because you're negative, but because your mind and heart need time to catch up to your circumstances. You need time to learn that not every quiet moment is the beginning of another storm. You need time to learn that peace doesn't always have to be defended. You need time to remember what it feels like to hope without immediately preparing for disappointment. And that takes patience. So, if life has been feeling a little lighter lately, if things are slowly improving, if you're finally experiencing moments of relief after a difficult season, I hope you allow yourself to notice that. Not in a forced way, not by pretending everything is perfect, but by acknowledging what is true. Maybe things aren't perfect. Maybe some questions still remain. Maybe there are still challenges ahead, but that doesn't erase the progress you've made. And it doesn't mean you're required to stay emotionally anchored to a season you've already survived. You are allowed to enjoy what is good without feeling guilty for it. You are allowed to feel hopeful without demanding certainty. You are allowed to rest without constantly preparing for the next crisis. Because sometimes life really does become gentler. Not all at once, not forever, but enough to remind you that difficult seasons are not the entire story. And maybe that's what I want to leave you with tonight. If things are getting better, even slowly, let them. Let yourself notice it. Let yourself breathe a little deeper. Let yourself trust the moment you're in instead of constantly bracing for the one that hasn't arrived. Because you've spent enough time carrying what was heavy. And perhaps this season is not asking you to carry more. Perhaps it's simply asking you to believe that lighter days are allowed to belong to you too.